Welcome back, everyone. Today we're checking out something interesting called the 7 Identities Test, which is available in all these languages. It's free online, by the way. If any of you want to do it, I'll leave a link in the description. But the 7 Identities Test is a community developed test to help people determine their characteristics in the new matrix of gender identities. Whereas the traditional male/female binary was held up for decades, many are now beginning to question the norms and standards that underpin the notions of classical gender conceptions. So that's a long way of saying, what the fudge is my gender? So as you can see, there's 35 questions. Should be fairly easy. I'll talk about each question, how I feel about them. We're going to learn something about me today. That's for sure. It's kind of, as of right now, I should probably say I believe I am non-binary, but that's sort of just the label that I threw on myself for convenience. In less woke crowds, I just tell people I'm cis male because I present more masculine. It's just easier than having to explain it. But yeah, this is free. Statistical controls. Let's see, your test scores are logged into an automized database. Statistical analysis of the test is conducted to ensure maximum accuracy and validity of the test scores. I should point out right now, this obviously is just an internet test and is not guaranteed this is what's up. But we'll learn something about me today at least. Made with data professionals. The 7 tests have been made with input of researchers who work professionally with political science and political analysis. Alright, so without further ado, let's start answering some of these questions. Medical professionals have at some point told me or my caregiver that I should consider genital surgery so that I could live a normal life. Wow, they just came out and said it, okay. No, that has never happened to me. Mostly because I don't really talk to that many medical professionals. I'm very lackluster when it comes to doctor checkups. I was in therapy when I was a lot younger for some complicated stuff, but gender was not on the table back then. I rarely, if ever, felt that people were incorrectly assuming my pronouns. That's true. I've never had to worry about that. I've been fine with every pronoun. I'll take any pronoun, by the way. To hit me with any of them, I'll take them. Even though I don't know all the neopronouns, but, do with those what you will. I use my gender expression to go beyond the limits of what traditional society considers acceptable. Okay, I guess it depends on what they mean by traditional society. Because, I've had people tell me that it's really bad for me, quote unquote, as a man, to grow out my hair. I just like having long hair. I like when it gets all frizzy and looks kind of like a lion mane. I've also enjoyed things like skirts and whatnot, so I'm gonna go with agree pretty strongly here, because I have been called out on that a lot, but frankly, I'm not sure what they mean by traditional society considers acceptable. It's a bit vague to me. I rarely express my gender identity in ways that highlight the gender stereotypes in our society. What do they mean by that? I rarely express my gender identity in ways that highlight the gender stereotypes in our society. I'm pretty lazy in general with how I do most appearance stuff. Then again, I've done 12 trans meme readings on this channel, so yeah, I'd say it's a little bit rare for me, but not by that much. I feel like gender in general is just a stupid label people throw on things. It might just be me. I have reproductive or sexual anatomy that does not fit the typical definitions of male or female. Alright, that's definitely a shot to the intersex people. As far as I'm aware, I have zero physical things there. My gender identity changes over time. That is true. I felt it shift a lot. Like, the issue is, we only have so many labels. And there's 8 billion people on the planet right now. We are not all the same. So it's kind of hard to say who's who, you know? Many people have been confused or surprised by the sight of my unclothed body. Huh. Interesting. Well, I don't really spend that much time unclothed. Mostly because I'm uncomfortable with people seeing me without at bare minimum a t-shirt and shorts. That's just a me thing, so I haven't had that many people see my quote-unquote unclothed body. So no, not many people are, but that's mostly because I just don't let people see it. In middle school and high school, whenever I had to change in the locker room, I would go into the bathroom stall to do it because of just how uncomfortable it made me. I actually got bullied for that, which is fun, but I could not stand it. So no, people haven't really been confused by it. But I think that's because I avoid showing people, so I'll put a little bit. I have not felt the need to give a lot of thought to my gender identity. Moving on. My gender identity matches my sex assigned at birth. I mean, I guess. Again, I don't really feel like the labels work as well as they should. But whenever I'm in a crowd that isn't, very woke, I'll just flat out be like, no, I'm a man, completely cis, still cis though, I swear, nothing out of the ordinary here. Yeah, who would want to wear a skirt? Who would want to wear a pretty dress? Not me, that's for sure. I express my gender in ways outside the norm of any traditional gender identity. Huh. Okay. In my experience, whenever I think about whether or not I'm expressing gender, which is pretty rare to be something I even think about, but whenever I do, it's usually either, oh, this is exactly what the male will do, or exactly what is weird for the male, and by proxy would be normal for the female. I'm not sure about norm outside of any gender identity. I mean, I don't like traditional gender roles in general, so they do specify traditional. I'm going to go with agree because in general I tend to do stuff outside of traditional gender stuff, but yeah, I'm not really sure. My internal sense of gender changes as my mood changes. Yep. My gender identity differs from the sex of the assignment at birth. I do lean a bit more male, which is I am male, assigned male at birth, so I will slightly disagree, but not by much, because, again, I'm all over the place with this. Deep down, I often wish to myself that my body was not gendered. Yep. There's no deep down to this, I just do. I explore my gender identity in ways that more traditionally minded people haven't even considered. I feel like that's true. Because I've had several people who are more traditionally minded say that the stuff I do is kind of weird. Had several comments so far telling me to take myself out. Incredible that I'm already getting death threats, by the way. 10 out of 10 there. Okay, let's see here. I challenge the traditional notions of what it means to be masculine or feminine almost every day. There's days where I don't do anything at all, not even unrelated to gender. I just go to work, go home, go to bed. I don't think I challenge it every day, but I do challenge traditional notions sometimes. Something I think a lot of people forget is challenging gender roles is not cheap. Have you seen how expensive makeup is and like skirts? Oh my god, there was this trans cat hoodie that I found on a trans meme reading. I don't remember which video, but it is super cute. It's like $50 for a hoodie. And it's so cute. I want it, but it's so expensive. Let's see here. I challenge the traditional notion. Oh, right, I already read that. Yeah, I'd say challenge it whenever I can. Because frankly, I think it's kind of dumb. I've had to correct or explain my gender identity or expressions to others. I feel like to some extent I have. Like I have sort of had to explain it, but okay, the thing is, the only people I talk to about gender are people I expect to be more, for lack of a better term, woke, where they're fine with this kind of thing. And those people, yeah, sure, but whenever I think it's someone who isn't, I don't have a backbone with it. I just don't have a backbone, okay? I'm a bit of a coward with it. And in my defense, I live in an urban area that is not traditionally the most woke place. I live with some people who are not the most woke as well, so like, I haven't really had to explain that much, purely because I've sort of just folded. But there's been a lot of cases where I want to. It often seems to me as if people are oddly insistent on gendering everything, whereas I don't see the world as gendered as they do. This is what I've been saying for a while now. This is what I was trying to say earlier. Exactly this. I wish there was even more agree I could do. I fully agree. I express my gender identity in a way that challenges or expands people's conception of gender. No, because I don't have a backbone. I'm a coward. Womp womp. I wish I could, though. That would be fun. I truly cherish the fact that I am able to present myself as a traditional man or woman. No. No, not really. I don't really cherish the fact that I'm able to present myself as a traditional either way, but like, yeah, I don't really cherish it, no. Virginity doesn't fit the traditional categories of man or woman, male or female. I feel like they didn't need to say this twice. I might be missing something here, but it feels like that didn't need to be said twice, right? But yeah, no, my actual identity doesn't, but I can claim to be male and call it, so. Not fully agreeing, but yeah. I often feel like I have no gender at all. The body I was born with matches the notions of what one would expect of a traditional man or woman. Yeah, I was born with it, that's true. That one's more a biology than psychology question. Having an affirmative gender identity doesn't make any sense to me. Yep. It doesn't. It's just a label we throw on because we're trying to group people. We do that all the time. Sometimes it makes more sense than others. And it has a place, but I feel like we care too much about gender as a label. I really do. I don't really believe that one's gender identity can change throughout the course of life. Oh, I completely disagree with that. Life is full of phases. You learn, you expand, you change as a person. Whenever someone says you've changed as like a bad thing, I always find that really dumb. Like, yeah, some people change for the worse, but People who don't change at all that you should be really worried about. I've experienced discrimination or violence because of my gender identity. Thankfully, no. I. Okay, I don't want to fully disagree with this because, like I said, there are groups where I've intentionally just went male and that was it for my own convenience and whatnot. And that's sort of like a fear of discrimination. There are a handful of people in my area that I am worried about violence with, but I can very easily avoid. So it's whatever. But like, I disagree with it, but I feel like if I wasn't such a dang coward with all this, I probably would have to deal with a little bit of discrimination. Nothing too big, just a couple of catcall, microaggression type stuff, which you can live with, but, ain't fun. Not to downplay people who have to deal with that. Medical professionals have tried to talk to me about removing certain and ambiguous traits I have or have had because they want me to appear more like a traditional man or woman. Ambiguous? Shouldn't it be androgynous in this case? Nah, whatever. I have not had to deal with that. I actually have not had a medical professional say anything against me on that. But again, I don't spend that much time with medical professionals, so I'll put it here. But yeah, never had to deal with that one. I don't feel like it's hard to identify with any internal identity. Yeah, the labels don't feel like they stick, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like it's a right fit. I just feel like it's the easiest one to throw on. That's why I find it so easy to turn around and be like, no, I'm this, no, I'm this. Like, I could take on basically any label because none of them perfectly fit me, as far as I can tell. At the end of the day, I just know deep down that I am more male than female or more female than male. I know I said I say male every time, but that's because people say that I'm male. I don't really feel like I am more male than female. It's just people oftentimes say I'm more male, so I just sort of roll with that label of, yeah, that's totally what it is. So, I don't really know deep down, but I've heard people keep saying it, so I sort of just accepted it. Like at a certain point, it's like, I'm not going to fight it, sure. People prefer seeing me that way, I'll take it. The gender identity that it feels normal. That typo. The identity that it feels normal for me to express changes vividly from one month to the next. I wouldn't say it changes vividly, and sometimes I'll stick for a while, sometimes I won't. But I am inconsistent with it. I use my style, behavior, and mannerisms to live as opposite gender of one I was assigned with birth, and doing so feels right for me. I don't have that many opportunities to do it that way, mostly because of where I live in my budget, but the few times that I have, I've always felt right doing it, so I'm going to leave this in the middle. I've taken steps to bring my physical body more in line with my gender identity, or I am contemplating doing so in the future. I have thought about it. I have thought about it a lot. I've contemplated doing it, but I'm alright with where I am physically, I think. I'm not a fan of my facial hair, though. I would kind of like to do something about that. But that's more like, it just annoys me. More of a sensory issue. No, I haven't really taken steps, and I don't really think I'm contemplating in the way they mean, so When I was a child, I felt my gender identity did not match the sex of the time at birth. Yeah, yeah, no, I did. I always felt like it was weird. But I sort of took the label a lot more at face value back then, so I'll put it there. There are multiple ways in which I express my gender identity, rather than just traditional male or female. I mean, yeah, no, yeah, I express it in multiple ways, but not that often. Throughout my life, I have always known that there was one gender identity that was more right for me than others. No. No. I kept being told male, but like, it never really felt all that much stronger. I just sort of got used to being known as the boy, not. I never really felt like that meant anything beyond that that's the thing people say I am. The sex of the sign at birth truly matches or reflects how I perceive my gender identity. No. Oh! Okay. I didn't realize they had agender on here. Gender fluid, agender, I've taken both of those labels at certain points. Non-binary is the one I usually use now. I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of thought gender fluid was one that people don't really accept, for lack of a better term. People weren't really into that anymore. Like, it sort of became one where that might be because of where I was, but I have been told that gender fluid isn't that good. I could be totally wrong on that. If I am, my bad. Cisgender, which is, in my case, male, 52%. Transgender is also 53%. Okay. Interesting how these two are the same. I wonder if that's normal for this test, or if that's a me thing. But yeah, I have taken gender fluid a lot, and then I sort of just kept being told, no, it's not real. And anyone who is gender fluid, my apologies for saying that. It's on the test. As a label, I have liked that one a lot, but like, non-binary, yeah, I've been taking that one a lot too. Gender queer, I don't know what that is, but there's an explanation of concepts I'll be scrolling down to in a minute. Intersex, 13. Alright, checks out. I thought intersex was just biological. Is that a mental thing too? I thought that was purely a biological term. Again, I don't know everything, okay? Just saying right now. But 100% agender. Agender, from what I understand, is not really identifying by a gender. I've used that one a lot, but I don't like how it sounds. Not as in I don't like the label, but in it sounds like I'm saying I am a gender instead of agender. Like ace gender would probably sound a lot better. That's more of a complaint of the English language. What the heck is gender queer? Alright, hold on. Okay, I want to find gender queer first because I don't know that one, and then I'll read all the others. Genderqueer. Individuals who deviate from binary gender norms sometimes refer to themselves as genderqueer, as opposed to people who identify merely as non-binary, gender fluid, agender, or similar. Many who identify as genderqueer actively associate the term with challenging or subverting conditional gender distinctions. Oh, okay. Here's to question gender expectations can range from good-natured play with gender to more deliberate political provocations in the service of highlighting gender stereotypes in our culture. Oh, so this is a lot more. This is like that artsy sort of. Why does gender need to exist? Here, I'm going to use myself as an example of how dumb it is. I have dabbled in this a bit, but this, to me, to do it right, kind of costs a lot. My mind goes straight to drag queens, not gonna lie. As like the flagship of this, but that's sort of, I'm just gonna show up as whatever. I have dabbled with this, but it's I feel like I haven't had much opportunities to play with this one. But I have liked the idea of this. So, nice to have a label for it. Alright, I'll go up to the top and read them all. Cisgender, also known as cis or cisgender, also known as cis or cissexual, describes individuals whose gender identity matches the sex they were assigned at birth. For example, a person who is born female and identifies themselves as a woman or girl. Similarly, a person who is born male or identifies as a man or boy could be described as cisgender. It is important to note the individuals who are cisgender may or may not be straight, since gender identity is different from romantic or sexual attractions. That last label of, or not label, but that last little warning of, it's important to note that this isn't related to attraction. I think that applies to all of them. So, yeah, cis is the gender you're assigned, right? Gender fluid, which from what I understand is you swap all the time. You're not really fully consistent with it. Gender fluid individuals experience changes in gender expression that feels natural to them and or their gender identity over time. For instance, a gender fluid person may identify as a man one week and a woman the next. Similarly, they could alternate between agender, bigender, non-binary, or any combination thereof. The concept of gender fluidity thus recognizes the existence of gender as a spectrum and not a simple binary, and empathizes the gender identity may alter or fluctuate. It should be noted that gender fluidity is not synonymous with sexual fluidity, since gender fluidity pertains to flexibility with regards to the gender characteristics and social contracts that one is willing to adapt, with sexual fluidity refers to flexibility as to which genders one is attracted to. Oh geez, okay, that was a long one. So yeah, basically you flip-flop between the two. And once again, warning that attraction and gender are not the same thing. Which, again, valid warning. Okay, non-binary, which is basically anything. I've always used non-binary as anything that isn't male or female, because male and female are the binary. So non-binary would be everything else. Honestly, I thought intersex was just a part of non-binary, but since it's a separate label, it might be a different thing altogether. I don't know. These labels aren't fully consistent with how people use them. Not gonna lie. Those who experience their gender identity is going beyond the traditional man or woman binary may often refer to themselves as non-binary. In other words, individual whose gender identity does not fit exclusively into the traditional categories of man or woman may be said to be non-binary. There is a great diversity among those who identify as non-binary. However, as some identify with some elements of traditional gender binaries, while others reject the traditional notions of man and woman completely. Alright, fair enough. So yeah, it's anything outside of male and female. I'm rejected fully, so I'm just go a bit above and beyond. As it said in the gender fluid, and that I'll agree with right now, yeah, I do fully see gender as more of a spectrum, and we sort of like try to categorize it. Like, think with colors how there's a bunch of different shades of red, but we all just call it red. That's sort of how I see a lot of gender labels. Transgender, which we've talked about a lot on this channel. People who identify as transgender are those whose internal sense of gender does not match the sex that were assigned at birth. Transgender is thus an umbrella identity that encompasses the various ways a person's gender identity can be different from the sex they are born with. Some transgender individuals, but not all, undergo medical procedures such as hormone therapy, hair growth or removal, and/or various surgeries to make their bodies more consistent with their lived experience and gender identities. Yeah. I do like that they bother to point out that you can be trans without actually going through anything like HRT, any of the surgeries. Like, you don't need to do any of that. It's, honestly, the hair removal is the only one that I actually think I would do physically, because, like I said, I have some sensory issues with facial hair especially. I'm not a fan of leg or arm hair either. It's a thing. But yeah, no, that's accurate. Feel that? I already read genderqueer. So we'll skip that one and go to intersex. Human beings with reproductive anomalies that do not fit the traditional classifications of male or female are sometimes said to be intersex. For instance, an individual may be born with traditionally feminine facial features or curves, while their inner anatomy is more that of a traditional male. Or a person might have genitalia that falls somewhere between the typical male and female classifications. For example, a girl may be born with noticeably large clitoris, while a boy might be born with a notably small penis or a scrotum that is divided so that it looks like a levity? Lebita? I don't know how to pronounce that word, sorry. Likewise, some intersex people have mosaic genes, with some cells having XX female chromosomes and others XY male chromosomes. Okay, so this word and this word I screwed up, but you get the point. So yeah, this is more biologically based. But, I feel like intersex is becoming a bit of a weird category because a lot of features now are sort of being removed from the idea of it being male or female. And I think that should be the case, but yeah, as far as I can tell, this one's a lot more biologically based. So it's sort of the outlier to me on this, but that might just be me. That might just be my own brain. Agender. People who do not specifically identify as any gender sometimes refer to themselves as agender, with the prefix a indicating no or none. While some agender individuals categorize their identity as having no gender, others associate their agender identity with being gender neutral, gender free, ungendered, or gender blank. Other terms in this category include gender void, null gender, and genderless. An agender person typically feels as though they are neither a man nor a woman, nor a contribution to the male or female traits. However, as opposed to identities such as queer gender or non-binary, the gender identity is often viewed as a statement of not having a gender identification at all. Okay, I can see why this one I can see why this was 100. Because I started this out saying exactly this. Started this video out with that. Yeah, I've taken on the agender label before, but I haven't had it explained like this. Honestly, I thought, from how I understood it up until now, I thought intersex was physical, agender was mental, and they were basically the same thing. Now that it's explained that way, I think agender might actually be a better label for me. I do like genderqueer. I wish I was genderqueer. That could be fun. I might dabble in this one some more just because it's fun to mess with that kind of thing. I do think this is probably my best label. Now that it's being explained this way. Because I've just had basically talk of people that I'm in the same spaces, like classmates, coworkers, that type of thing. Yeah, gender fluid, non-binary, agender all feel like labels that fit me pretty well. I don't think intersex fits me all that well, to be honest. Genderqueer, I kind of want to do that a lot more than I do. And trans and cis, 50-50. Which, nah, sure enough. Honestly, I feel like non-binary and should probably be a bit higher, and gender fluid might be a bit lower, but all around, no, this actually fits me pretty dang well. Yeah, no, I'll take it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you look at the top line of the description, there'll be a link to the website so you can do this yourself. Because it's free, it's online. Bear in mind, this test is not 100% accurate. You, chances are, will not get a perfect answer. Nothing in this is set in stone. As I've said earlier, life is full of phases. You will not always be consistent. Maybe I'll redo this, make this an annual thing, see how much I've shifted. But yeah, no, I think that just about does it for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope we see you around. And I wish you an absolutely fantastic day.